Alright guys, we're the Timeshitters. I'm Ben.
I'm Jack.
And we're playing Super Metroid. LPing, as it were, let's playing. So it's Jack playing this time, as is generally the established
I don't know,
pattern.
come on, we've got you playing some Xbox now.
I'm playing the Bastion.
You'll catch up.
I'll catch up. I will catch up, that's true.
Me being a busy PhD student, I'm sure you'll find more time for games than me these days.
Well, I am hideously depressed though.
Yeah.
So, you've never played this game before, have you? So
I think I've played maybe the first half an hour about 10 times. So like, I'll be very swish at the start, but no, I've never finished it. I've never even got significantly far into it. I just never committed to it before. But I don't know why, because it's a really good game so far.
But I think that's an important thing to bear in mind, is there's a lot of LPs of this game, but this is going to be approximating blind. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, definitely after a certain point it's entirely blind.
So I'm sort of reluctant to do a full-blown explaining every aspect of the game, because it is
To be honest, it doesn't need
a
a
very
lot of
famous
explaining.
game. Yeah.
It doesn't need, I mean, a lot of it's very self-explanatory. It's not like, well, as at the time now, we just did our commentary for the first part of Bastion, and that game throws a lot of stuff at you very quickly. Whereas, since everyone's very familiar with the concept of a Metroidvania type game, this being one half of that very word, people will get it.
Yeah.
If anything needs explaining, I'll explain it, but we're getting a nice bit of a backstory here.
This is, of course, from Metroid 2, which is on the Game Boy, which no one's played.
No one's played it. I remember having, I had a Super Game Boy as a child. Do you know what one
Yeah, I
of
had
those
one of those as well. It was a cartridge you put into your Super Nintendo, and then you could put Game Boy cartridges in the top, and it would give them a bit of colour and spice them up a bit.
Well,
Sprice is a word, by the way.
Sprice it up.
Sprice it up, sure.
Well, I got it when it came out for like a birthday or Christmas, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I got with it a nice bit of a bonus thing. I had like a Super Game Boy book.
I had that as well.
Did you have that, really?
Yeah, seriously.
And this was in there, I think. Might not have been, but I had things like Super Mario Land.
It had like recommended colour schemes and like
Yeah.
little guides on little sections of it and stuff.
And different parts of different like popular games that Nintendo had done, and I just really liked it. It was nice.
Ah, that's quite unlikely that we both had that.
Oh.
Oh, well, if you had that, good. Isn't it nice to find people who have the same experience?
It's a small world. It's too bad. Like I already hate you.
So,
that might have knocked it off course in the early stages, but it's too late now.
So I think this is one of the best looking Super Nintendo games that was knocking around. I just think it looks incredible.
Yeah, agreed.
And they just had so many ideas with it.
It's definitely got the best theatrics. Like, there's a lot of RPGs out for this console, but a lot of them just feel like the characters just standing there looking like idiots until you move them. No matter what Samus is doing, she looks like ready for business.
So this is a general question to both you, me, and people watching, and that's sort of how familiar are you with Metroid games, with Samus as a character?
I'm pretty familiar. There's a few games where she gets her character fleshed out more than others. I'm no like fanboy expert, but I'm pretty familiar. Why? What's your point?
I was just because I haven't. All right. I've just been Skyped. Sorry.
Concentrate.
I will. Sorry. I played about half of Metroid Prime. I think I just got the plasma beam and then stopped playing. And you're going to ask the obvious question: is why did you stop playing when you got the best item in the game? But it was my cousin's. I was borrowing it, and then I've actually got Metroid Prime 2. I always forget that, which I never finished.
Brilliant
I got
game.
like 2 of the keys, and then was like, can't bother with this. Because I thought getting guide is cheating. Sorry, go on. You were going to say something.
Now, as far as I'm aware, like this sort of boss with Ridley will keep on going until it's whittled you down to like a quarter of your health, and then it'll like escape with the Metroid baby there, which is the last remaining Metroid at the present, according to the plot. It's like the young Metroid that was captured, and now the space pirates led by Ridley, this dragon pterodactyl thing, is stealing it, raiding the station where the scientists were researching it.
Right, I've got some questions, yeah.
Go.
First off, what are the space pirates?
Space pirates are exactly what they sound like. I mean, I'm not sure what they are biologically, but the humanoids and the pirates in space. What more do you need to know? The armed soldiers, the trained killers.
Okay,
They
okay.
attack spaceships and take what they want.
I'll accept this. So, what on earth is Ridley?
Ridley's their illustrious leader, but as far as I can tell, he's just like 9-part evil pterodactyl mega beast, 1 part evil genius. Like he's got, I mean, he is their leader. Like he makes all the plans and stuff, but he never like has any dialogue, as far as I'm aware. And apart from that, every boss fight with Ridley is pretty difficult, as far as I can tell you. And again, he's just invincible. Like the amount of times he's died, and it doesn't really matter in these games. Like they're all in canon. Like they all seem to be in like a sort of a vague continuity. Like, I mean, you might say the same as Zelda or something.
Yeah.
But he's just like Liquid Snake and Metal Gear Solid. You just keep him coming back for another round, even though you're pretty sure you killed him the last time.
But like, I mean, that's what.
He's Nemesis, basically.
Yeah, but I mean, this is the thing. Like, Metroid, as you say, has a very clear continuity. Like, we just had an overview of the last 2 games. This is the 3rd one.
Yeah.
Then we get.
I'm not sure where the rest slots in. I'm sure.
Do we get Fusion after this? That's often called Metroid. Metroid 4, isn't it?
I'm not sure, to be honest, but like there is a sense that they do all follow on from each other. I mean, there are some sort of like side adventures, but even those are in some sort of timeline, like misadventures and sort of things that don't contribute or take from past and future games, but it was just something that kind of happened to it, kind of like Doctor Who, sort of like those mini isolated orphan episodes.
Okay, but this doesn't answer my question of, like, you said Ridley is like the mastermind, and you've also said Ridley is basically just a psychotic pterodactyl.
Yeah.
Now, for me, those things are at odds.
Yeah.
Like, I don't walk into a room. Well, I don't walk into a room and see a psychotic pterodactyl anyway. But if I did walk into a room and I just saw a metal-coated pterodactyl just going, that probably sounded nice on the mic. I wouldn't be like, oh, you want us to get the Metroids then, because they've got an uncanny ability to like tap into energy sources and drain them.
Well, to be honest, like the space pirates themselves aren't like chatting to you and everything. Not like, you know, hey, I'm evil. Like they all seem to be part of the same sort of cut from the same cloth. Sort of like they probably speak their own language.
But you do get in certainly in Metroid Prime and 2, you can scan their stuff, can't you?
Yeah.
Like log entries and stuff. So you do get some.
You do get a sense of that they're organised.
Yeah. So do you start with literally just your basic weapon? What's it called? Is it just called the
I think it's called the power beam.
Power beam. That's
So
it.
you've got your basic shot. You can't even turn into a ball at this point. You
So
can jump, you can duck, you can shoot,
so
and run.
the obvious problem with Metroid games for continuity is that why does and obviously everyone asks this, why does she just not have any powers? Like, why does she get rid of all the cool stuff between each adventure?
I think that is just simply a case of, well, we've got this idea, but we don't want to give you everything at the start and then come up with more things. I think the only game I can think of that's done that, well, there's loads I can think of, but the most notable one is probably Banjo-Tooie.
Yeah, I was going to say that if you didn't.
But like, you know, Zelda does it, like you start off with a crap sword, and they always come up with like contrived reasons to like strip her of all her powers. Like the worst notable one being Other M.
That's ridiculous. Well, that's ridiculous.
That's
isn't
like
it?
she has everything, which is just not permitted to use it. Like, what's that all about?
I admire them for trying to go for a different approach. I think Fusion has the best one where
She gets shocked, is it?
well, it's like a virus and it like drains all this stuff.
Oh yeah, that's right. She gets corrupt. No, that's in corruption. Yeah, but yeah, I get the idea.
Anyway.
Anywho.
But Zelda doesn't really need to do it in that, you know, there's a lot of ambiguity as to how many actual different links there are.
Oh, okay, that is true. They get away with it that way. It's always like the coming of age story of a boy from a bloodline of heroes. That's basically what you can say, isn't it?
I spent ages the other day trying to work out what order I think the Zelda games come in, like who is who and stuff. And I realised it's horribly complicated.
Yeah, you can waste a lot of your life trying to figure out like whether Nintendo even care.
I think they do. So Yeah. So I'm just trying to think what I've seen of this game. I have seen an LP of it, but it was a very quick one, and I've seen all the boss battles a few times.
Yeah. Maybe these are the space pirates, by the way.
They're quite weak at this point, aren't they?
They can be taken down in one hit. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's something I remember certainly from Prime and Prime 2, is that at the start you're like, oh my god, space pirates, and they're just nothing. And then later on in the game, they're pretty badass.
Well, the thing is, like, especially if you're doing what I'm doing and just scanning everything ever, like, you sort of, like, read it all, and it's sort of like, oh, they're trying to, like, reverse engineer all my technology, and, like, or this entire team of scientists and sort of evil soldiers are working against me, just me, because they hate me so much. And like on Metroid Prime, like they start like coming up with space pirates that have reverse engineered a lot of your weapons.
Yeah.
Which, as well as being fun to play, is just like, I don't know, you really do feel like you're hated by like this criminal organisation.
Okay.
Which I like, really. It gives you that feeling of immersion. I like that a lot.
Definitely. How familiar are you with like the locations of like incredibly obscure energy tanks and stuff?
Not really.
There's one up there, isn't there? Yeah.
Yeah, I can't get it at the moment. No. It's there, but it's out of reach. I need the high jump to get there, and I haven't got that yet. I mean, to be honest, like, I feel like I only start hunting for the obscure ones if I'm getting depressingly stuck somewhere, and that doesn't really happen a lot because generally I can survive. Especially if I know how to, like, the technique for the bosses and stuff, like the little sort of, I don't know, the sort of like idiosyncrasies and things, the little things that you can only really know by like actually playing the game.
Yeah.
Like I'll explain more of that when I get to what's his face, Kraid.
Okay.
Of Brinstar Depth fame, or this fame.
Well,
I don't know.
We both know we've played Smash Bros. A lot more than we've played Metroid.
Yeah, let's be honest with ourselves.
So, what was I going to say? I was going to ask... Okay, right. Thing about Metroid Prime, the Metroid Prime games. Because one of the main things I knew before I ever played a Metroid game was missiles, right?
Okay.
And that missiles are, you want your missiles, you want to have a lot of missiles, you use missiles on bosses, missiles, right?
That's about right.
And then, in Metroid Prime, like, they seem almost useless.
Really?
Like, they don't seem to have any power, they don't seem particularly strong. They fire a lot slower than they fire in this game.
I mean, they're about as useful in both games, like, ultimately, I think, anyway. Because, like, they do, like, more damage, but they can... A lot of enemies will just repel them. And, like, they're not exactly the easiest things to fire, because they've got that weird timing on them.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like... Super missiles might be a bit different, but... To be honest, like, a lot of this game is just... being agile and surviving and doing more damage to them before they do it to you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think any one thing in this game, like, wins it for you. I feel like in some games, once I get, like, a certain weapon or skill, I can just sort of coast on that.
Yeah.
But these games for me don't have that. And I like that a lot.
I mean, you were talking earlier about getting stuck and stuff. Like, for me... When I was playing number 2 and I sort of got to the end, and basically, I don't know if you know, but you have to get these 9 keys which are all hidden in incredibly obscure places.
It's they do that in Metroid Prime as well.
And you'd go, oh, I think there's a secret area here, and you spend ages working it out and like fighting your way across, and then you'd just be missile expansion. Yeah. And I've got nothing against missile expansions, but
they are a bit of a fuck you if you're trying to like find key items to progress through the game story. Yeah. You'd at least want a piece of paper saying, well done finding this, but maybe you want to try here.
It's like when you get to you get all 150 Pokemon in red or blue, and you just get a certificate that says, "Yep, you got them all."
It's such a
the last one you got was Taurus.
It's such a sheriff's badge. The last one you got was Taurus. Oh, Taurus, I hate him. So now I've actually got some more map data. Rather than having to actually explore this area, I've got a lot of the area. It's very much like Castlevania in the sense that you get part of the map, but not all of it.
You don't get like a lot of the secret areas and stuff.
And definitely not a lot of the secret areas. Like, and it doesn't even tell you where to look for things. But that's the way you want it, really. You don't want to be like going through the motions. You want to be exploring.
Exactly, like that's why people play these games.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people. Thing is, when it comes to game guides, I like having them, but I don't like using them. I like them as a reference, but even then I don't, because it spoils a lot of the pleasure you get from like finding like awesome stuff, and like the dawning on the like sort of realization that, oh my god, I've got this mint thing that does something really cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the thing of like, if you started this game with all the items, like, and you just had to get through and kill every boss, like,
It'd be
that
dull
would
as
be
ditch
boring.
water.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, even though like I don't like it when I can predict where a story or a game is going, I found that in Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
That maybe this is a spoiler, but turn your ears off if you haven't played all the way through Twilight Princess.
Well, I haven't played all the way through Twilight Princess.
Or maybe you should just not listen to what I'm going to say. Should I shut up?
Yeah.
Okay. Stay tuned for our Twilight Princess LP, where I play and make Ben watch everything and never allow him to play the game until I'm finished.
I'm so bad with like finishing things. Like Twilight Princess, I got pretty far in it. I'm trying to think how far I got. I think I got like 2 of the mirror pieces or something like
But
that.
how can you like resist playing a game like that once you've got started and significantly through it?
Effort, mate, effort.
Well, why do you even play games if they work for you? Like, do something else. Like, listen to music. Shit yourself, I don't know.
It's effort.
Everything's effort with you.
I know, it is.
Thing is, this is great. In a year's time, this sort of realisation of what we're like as people will have got to a certain stage where it's not even an LP channel anymore, it's just sort of footage of us trying to dodge each other's blades.
What?
Nothing. Anyway, this is a boss.
So this is a bit of a twist around because you're not expecting a Chozo to turn on you.
Not at all.
So what are the Chozo, Jack?
Well, as far as I can tell, like these are amazingly spiritual and wise beings that are very peaceful and only care about expanding their own sort of knowledge and just sort of being at one with the universe, really. They're very zen characters. Apart from the fact that they're badasses, I mean, look at them. You wouldn't want to wake up and find one of them in your bedroom. But, yeah,
You might be into that sort of thing.
They supply Samus with a power suit, and like the fact that she can do a morph ball is down to the fact that they sort of provided her with that technology. It's half the reason why she's such a badass, really. And in any sort of in Metroid Prime anyway, like you go to like the Chozo ruins and stuff, and you sort of like hear the lament at like sort of creatures or the space pirates like defiling the land, and like how they're just merely there to like promote things but not intervene too much. Like, do you know, like you see in a lot of like sci-fi, you get the sort of thing where it's like, oh, aliens came but they were benevolent and they sort of set off our society.
Yeah,
that's a very big sci-fi idea. Well, just imagine Chozo as being like an example of that. And
okay.
That's basically what you need to know about them.
That's sort of like the Protheans in Mass Effect.
Yeah, pretty much that. Like the Protheans are notable for, well, as far as I've played anyway, like they're notable in their absence, but their prominence in the fact that everything's based on what they did.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the society in Mass Effect is directly linked to what they were given by like this ancient, really smart civilization. Same with Chozo.
So what made you want to play this LP, this game?
Well, one, I think it's a good one to show off because of the nature of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And there's lots to talk about. I mean, it's Metroid. There's lots of things happening. It's very pretty to look at, very watchable. So already I've got something which I think the audience would like. And two, it just give me an excuse to play it all the way through and play it well.
Yeah.
I usually find that, like, especially now with achievements being the norm and everything, there's always like a fancier, flashier game which will give me achievements to play. But with this, I can play it through, and I'll also serve the purpose of, you know, getting something else on the channel, entertaining people. It just seemed to make sense.
Yeah.
And as of when I started playing this, like, we still hadn't quite figured out like Xbox yet, and I still haven't actually got my own rig set up for that yet. So I just thought I'd get this done in case we ever needed some footage.
Sure. So, what was I going to say? I'm so bad at starting sentences and then completely forgetting it.
And there's our first energy tank.
Do increase your health by 100 units.
It does indeed.
Which is a massive increase, because that's a double thing at this point.
Math with Ben.
What?
Math with Ben.
Math of Ben?
Maths with Ben. So here's like your first sort of upgrade. You need a missile to take these guys out. If you shoot them, that just happens. And I did that on purpose to show off.
Johnny, like, good LPs.
Yay. Well, come on, like, you've done something similar.
That's true, I have.
And it's good practice, so let's not be ashamed of doing things well.
I kept showing people how you die in Turrican because I didn't think I quite made that point.
There's a run button, if you didn't realise. I did that mainly because this is just to show off that there's this mysterious thing. And astute viewers will wonder why there's a Ridley-looking thing standing on top of that statue.
The first time I saw that statue, I thought it was like one monster.
Well, I thought that until I saw the different coloured gems, and I thought, hang on a minute,
Yeah.
there's something wrong here. Apart from the fact that it looked absolutely ridiculous, and although, just thinking about it, we're making an entertaining boss battle. But enough about that. Now, God knows why I'm doing this. I think I'm trying to stock up on missiles, because otherwise there's absolutely no reason to like unleash that kind of worms. Oh, I'm doing it again.
But then you ignore all those missiles and shoot all these. You're a strange man, Jack.
Well, I like to think that sometime in my life I'm just sitting there shooting a beehive with my gun.
Figuratively or literally?
I don't know.
I just completely lost my train of thought and it's really annoying me.
It's alright, there's two of us, that's why there's two of us. We can always just talk, there's no information, there's nothing to
Yeah,
convey.
but I can think of other things to say, but the thing I was going to say was probably really good. Like I don't want to go out on a limb here, but it's probably the best thing anyone will ever say.
And you lost it.
I know, I did.
Like, if the best thing anyone will ever say was on the tip of your tongue and you went I don't know, that makes me feel bad because I probably interrupted that trail of thought. So like, I've stopped humanity from like hearing like the best thing that can ever be heard.
It makes me feel good though, because it's like, oh, I don't even need to say the best thing ever.
You're just so like blasé about it.
I'm going to be watching this video back and I'm going to, at a certain point, I'm going to go, oh, I was good. Oh, we're not recording anymore. So...
There's lots of like secret passages and like destructible terrain, which is in no way like distinguishing itself. It's just you have to sort of experiment and hope that maybe...
You get a, is it an X-ray scanner later on in the game?
Yeah, that's
shows,
very
like,
helpful.
Where it's not, walls aren't properly solid and stuff.
And not only is it like good for like backtracking, but also like some sections are really sort of dependent on it. Like there's like mazes of like, you know, like destructible sort of earth.
Yeah.
And you want to be making sure you don't fall into pits and making sure you're going the right direction. And it looks really cool as well. Like I can't wait to show people that when we get there.
I think it's just like one thing this game is like a masterwork of level design. Like it's clever
Very
and
much
intuitive
so.
and there's as much or as little as you want to see.
I've
remembered what I was going to say.
Oh, go on.
It's not even that good. I was going to say, ask like, what length, do people have a preference of video length?
Oh, between like the half-hour format we've got here instead of 50 minutes from other videos.
Yeah, because I think...
Yeah, comments would be helpful on that, people, because I'm going to press on with this half-hour format unless people generally think I don't like this.
Okay, because I was actually wondering what you thought of that, because when I'm recording Bastion, for instance, I honestly don't know where to stop, because...
Yeah.
It's not like, I mean, each level takes like 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Which means I can do as many or as few levels as I like in an episode, really.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't do this.
Well, I'm also thinking half an hour seems good to me, because people would give up that to watch an alright TV show.
That's true.
Also, I feel it gives us sort of a chance to sort of get a flow going. Like, if we're talking about something, we don't really have to stop prematurely in the middle of a good thought all the time, and just get a sort of a bit of energy up.
That's a good point.
But it isn't so tiresome, because after all, people are just watching us playing video games.
That's true.
But on that subject of people watching us play video games, I've heard a lot from people who like are regular like viewers that it's really these videos have really encouraged them to like dig out like their old consoles.
Oh, that's nice.
Which is really nice. And it's also encouraged people who probably not even came across these games in their sort of gaming careers. Because you've got to remember that people enter gaming at different times in their life.
Very true.
And people are older and younger and all that. So, like, the idea that where at least like selling the idea of playing Metroid to people or whatever is very attractive to me. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now, you in Brutal Mario, remember the Tomberry room where if you shoot Tomberries, the room goes dark?
Yes.
This is what I was talking about. Just thought I'd do a little callback to that.
And if you haven't watched that video yet, watch it. Then rewatch this video.
Yeah. And then subscribe.
Then subscribe.
Yeah, it really helps out a lot, yeah.
So you need power bombs to get through there, don't you?
Yeah.
So, is there any names for these enemies?
Probably.
Oh, because I was going to try and come up with my own.
Do you want to try and come up with the name of that little thing?
That's a schlonga.
What's this thing crawling across the ceiling? That's a schlonga there, right?
That's a schlangler.
So that's a schlangler, okay. I'm going to try and refer to these these things by their names that you've given them the best I can. So that's a schlanger there.
A schlangler.
A schlangler.
Schlangler, like an angler. But
See,
with more slang.
I just narrowly survived being hit by a schlangler there.
Yeah.
So this is eventually going to be a boost run type thing, but more on that later.
Schlunglers.
Schlunglers. What's the name of this planet, Ben? And the native tongues? No, that's what we call it. What do the schlunglers call it?
Yeah.
Oh, what's that thing with the blue head?
What? What thing with a blue head?
That one.
You're thinking of Smurfs. That's a schlangler.
That's not a schlangler.
Oh, isn't it a schlongler?
No. Is it a schlongler?
That's a schlongler.
Okay, fair enough. What are these little red things that look like rhino beetles?
I can't see them.
Because I killed them too quickly.
Well, who cares about naming something that's dead, Jack?
What's this one?
I mean, I can keep this quite weak joke going if you want and call it a schlangler, but that's not going to help anyone.
Okay, well, I like it because they swoop down at you and you can chop the wings off and they still come at you like Terminator style. I just like...
When does Terminator have wings?
I'm just thinking... No, I'm saying like in Terminator, the original movie, you know, he's coming at them and then he gets like his head sort of separated from his legs and he's still crawling at them.
Yeah.
In a menacing sort of, I'm not quite done yet because I'm a relentless machine of death.
When I played this game, this is the point I actually got to and then when I stopped playing.
I understand that. This is probably the same of me as well. By this point, I'm just thinking, where do I go from here? I'm not quite sure what I'm doing. It's a SNES emulator. I've got an Xbox.
It's an emulator, if you will.
How about see you later?
Part 2. It's an emulator.